Hey, my name is Deborah Winters. Welcome to my YouTube channel, a place where you will hear conversations with ordinary people telling their extraordinary stories. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Their Stories. My guest today is my sweet friend, Ileana Wheeler, and some people call her Illy, right?
Yes.
So we just want to talk a little bit about her story. You are from Cuba.
Yes.
Born in Cuba.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about what that looked like?
I was born in there.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since 1979. So it's
And
been
how-
over 40-some years.
Over 40-something. You're telling your age.
Yes. It's okay.
So back to Cuba.
Yes.
So you were born in Cuba. Now, did you live with your mother and father? Were they together?
Yes. Well, no. I live with my mom. My dad and my mom were divorced. So I live with my mom.
Okay.
But I also,
You had siblings?
I have a brother
Okay.
and I have a sister.
Okay.
And they still there. They live in Cuba
Okay.
still. My mother and my father were divorced. So I have an aunt and an uncle. They're not,
still there?
No.
Oh,
those are-
okay. I'm getting ahead of the story. Sorry, back. Rewind. Go ahead.
So, because of the relationship, my mom had to go to work. I had an uncle and an aunt and never were able to have children. And they live a block away from us. So they took me in.
So you didn't live with your mom?
I did. And I did and I didn't. So
Okay.
every day I will wake up, go to school, and then after school I will go and stay with my aunt and my uncle because my mom had to go to work. But a lot of times my mom was not around and they were like my parents.
Okay.
So
Now, what was the relationship of them to your mom? Sister or her brother?
it's
or-
my aunt's sister,
Okay, so your mom's sister.
my mom's sister.
Okay.
So they were there for me always. You know, I remember them picking me up, taking me everywhere, you know, and just being like a parent between them and my grandmother.
Okay.
So my home life was not what you call it, the best home life.
So how was it? What did life look like in Cuba for you as a young child?
Kind of lonely, very poor.
Okay.
You don't know what you're gonna eat next. I only had a pair of shoes for a whole year.
Okay.
So you wear the same clothes. You don't have you don't even have toys.
Was it a frightening existence?
It's not afraid in a way of violence because they're not really. It's more like you're scared to talk. You're scared of saying the wrong thing and getting in trouble.
Really?
Oh yes.
In trouble with
The authorities. You don't know
authorities.
Yes, you don't know who is works for the government because they dress like you and I. You know, so
okay.
it's a fear of I'm gonna be in trouble with if I do
wow.
like if you were not allowed to go to church over there. Churches were underground. So one time I remember my mom was trying to take me. I didn't grow up knowing the Lord.
Okay.
And my mom wanted to take me to church one day as a visit, and this lady that was walking on the street, we didn't even know she was from the government. She told my mom, if you go in there, I'm going to take it out on your daughter. So my mom got scared, took him by the hand.
Really?
Yes, and went back home. So I didn't grow up knowing anything about the Lord either, you know. So, but it was a hard.
But you were allowed to go to school.
Yes, we were allowed to go to school. We went to school and came home, and we have to stand in the sun for, you know, it's just very rigid and it's a dictatorship.
Dictatorship,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it was. Like
So, at some point in time, you left Cuba. So talk a little bit about that.
my uncle was a political prisoner in Cuba. He
Really?
was serving for the government, and when he realized that this new government, which is a Fidel Castro government, he realized that it was not going to be a good government. All he said was, "I do not want to be in this army per se anymore." And he ended up in prison.
Because he said that?
Yes, only because he said that. And he was tortured.
He was what?
Torture.
Torture.
Yeah. And he served a good amount of years in prison. Yes.
So your aunt lived alone that whole time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So he gets out, and years later, between 1978 and 1979, President Carter allowed the Cuban political prisoners to come to the United States.
For asylum?
For asylum, refugees.
Okay.
So my uncle, we sold everything. He sold his car, like our whole family. We tried to get as many people out as we could.
Okay.
So we were going to bring pretty much everybody, everybody that who could bring. So we would go and sell anything, homes or land or whatever we had, to be able to afford getting our papers ready.
So what was the cost? Do you even remember?
I don't remember the cost, but it was expensive. And we were sitting out in the embassy, because over there they don't let you go inside. Like here, you go and sit. You are in the streets for hours. No water.
Sitting outside
of the embassy.
So what are you waiting on outside?
I'm waiting on being seen by an officer.
For them to approve for you to leave.
Yes, and get all our papers ready, our vaccinations, everything, because to get our papers in order to send it to Washington, that we can get approved in the United States to come in.
So once you go there and you go through the process, you have to go back home and wait for an approval.
Yeah, and it could be a year or longer.
So how did the Cuban officials feel about that? Did they take it out on you for trying to leave the country?
They start watching you.
Okay.
They start watching you. They start asking you why you want to leave.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything. I was only 14, 15. So all I said is I'm following my family.
Okay. All right.
I wasn't going to say anything that I did not want to have repercussions later.
Right.
So the tricky part.
This is a little emotional.
The tricky part about this is it was at least 7 of us.
So who were the 7?
It was my mom included, my brother, my sister, me,
4.
and then my uncle and my aunt,
6.
and then my grandmother and my grandpa. He was trying to get as many people as he could.
Okay.
So it's almost to the end of everything, and we have our final interview with one of the officers in the embassy. And he looked at all of us. We were all there, and he said, only 3 of you are leaving. So we all look at each other saying, who is going to be the 3 people? I know it's going to be my uncle and my aunt for sure. That's his wife. So in the whole group, 1 person.
And that was you.
And that was me.
Who made that decision?
They made that decision.
Who is that? The government makes the decision?
Yeah.
They just picked you?
They picked me. And I feel like it was God.
Yes. Wow. That was horrible.
It was horrible. Because I'm 15 and I need to make this decision.
But the good news is you had a really good, close relationship with your aunt and uncle.
Yes.
So you were comfortable.
Yes.
But leaving your mom,
my mother, and my
siblings,
brother, and my siblings, it's still hard.
Yeah, it's hard for me, and I wasn't involved.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a week only, and our flight was going to leave in a week. So I had a week to make a decision.
Oh, so you could decide to go or not.
I could decide to go or
Okay.
not. And my grandpa, he's the one who made my choice.
He did? What did he say? You're going?
He took me. He was a very soft-spoken man, and my family was always scared to talk about the government, because you talk and you can have beatings or anything like that.
So they would be listening?
Yes. So he took me in a room, and very quietly he said that he loved me, but that I had to leave.
Wow.
This is not a life for you. And he said, you have been given an opportunity you need to take it. My father was totally against it.
But he wasn't
cried.
in the home.
He wasn't in the home, but he was against it. My father cried and left.
Your father cried
and left.
So did you have a relationship with your father?
I
did you
did.
see him?
I used to see him once in a while. It wasn't. My father was an alcoholic and a very abusive.
Abusive to your kids?
Yeah,
Really?
and my mom.
Okay.
And so it was not a pretty picture.
Okay.
So anyway, he didn't want me to, and my mother would not give him any answer.
She wouldn't.
She
She
would
wanted
go
you
like
to make the
this.
decision.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm 15.
Right.
You know, I really don't know. But my grandpa, and I'll never forget his words. And I'm here. And I came. And I came with my uncle and my aunt and myself.
Okay.
We.
How did you get here?
Well, back then they had the Pan American airline. That was so long
remember
time ago.
the day. We're showing our age here.
Pan American Airlines. And I remember that I got into Miami. The flight was so fast.
Was it? And was that just totally, I mean, the thought of getting on a plane and flying, was that, were you scared?
No, I was not scared, but it's so fast. I changed my life so fast. It's 45-minute flight.
Yes.
That was fast. And I will never forget my brother and I are still very close. But he was at airport, and that is something that I will never forget. He was just looking.
Oh.
Because I was sitting on a window and he was just looking to say
and
goodbye.
you could see
I can
him.
see him.
Oh, okay.
Because he said, I'm going to... But anyway, but, you know...
How old was he?
He was 7 years old.
7?
Yeah, because he was a baby.
How was your sister?
My sister was older. So it's...
Older than you?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
But she's the middle one, my
Okay,
sister.
okay.
So, but
7
I remember he was
years
7,
old.
and he tells me now my whole world. I said I saw that plane and you were in there, and that was it.
Oh.
For years, because I couldn't go back for years.
You couldn't?
No, but
Okay.
we got to Miami.
Okay.
And they received us with I'll never forget it, with a soda and a sandwich.
Oh.
And,
so who received you? The government? A government official?
Yeah, a government official. We had all of our, like our papers, our passports,
Okay.
everything. So
A soda
like immigration.
and a sandwich.
Yes, I'll never forget a soda and a sandwich. And when we left, we left with only what we had on. We were not allowed to take nothing out of Cuba.
No suitcase?
Nothing. Or no pictures of our families.
No.
Nothing. They look at you like the scum of the world.
So who is they?
The government in Cuba.
Okay.
You are the
You
scum.
can't take, if you want to leave, you can't take anything.
You go
with you.
as you are. Nothing on.
Wow.
Nothing. So the government here gave us a whole week on a hotel.
Oh.
Lunch and dinner and breakfast paid.
They did?
They did. And
The U.S. government.
the
okay.
U.S. God bless America.
Yes, God bless America.
And they gave us that, and they welcomed us to the United States of America. And I was so young.
Oh.
If I look back now, it was also... I was so wide open, like my eyes looking at the beauty of how beautiful this country is.
Well, before Castro, I just happened to get a devotional today from a guy I follow every day, and he had this long article on Cuba just today, and I told Ilya, I said, I read all about this stuff with Cuba and before Castro, how it was a beautiful, thriving, very tourist-oriented area, and your economy was fabulous. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cuba was way up there within Latin America countries as being very prosperous.
Yes.
So after Castro, everything went downhill.
And it's worse now.
And they took everything from the people.
They took everything. My grandpa had a beautiful farm. And he fed the whole family with this farm. Every time he went to his farm, there was an official there with guns. This piece of land doesn't belong to you no more. And they will take it away.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So he could no longer farm and take the food from the farm?
Nope. And they will take it until they left him with very little. and you cannot say anything.
Really?
I had another uncle. They had a factory, a shoe factory.
Wow.
And they took it away. They got there with machine guns, and they said, "You no longer own this."
And they confiscated all businesses.
Everything. And he couldn't take it, and he killed himself.
He did?
He did. He couldn't take it. It was so hard. So I was born in that system.
So you didn't know any
So
better.
I didn't know the difference until I moved to the United States.
Gotcha.
Now is when my eyes get open, because my family was terrified to talk about the government.
Yes.
And I remember, so I was born in that. Mm-hmm. But I come here and I see
like
this
heaven.
country. Oh my gosh. And I'm still young, and I don't even know the language.
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Now, did your aunt and uncle know the language?
None of us.
So all three of you. So now Cuban, you see a lot of Cuban people in Miami and South Florida.
But not back then.
But back then, so you had to try and communicate to English speaking.
Yeah. So we get to this hotel, pay for the government for a week, lunch and everything. And we said, after that, you have to, I don't know what you're going to do. You're on your own. Oh, wow. So
was there a plan? Did your uncle have a plan?
No. We just started walking.
You just wanted to come to America.
Yes. We started walking and asking for jobs.
Okay.
And there was a few people that would speak Spanish in Miami back then.
Yes.
Not as much as now. And we had a job within a week. In a hotel. Cleaning.
Now you were allowed at that young age.
Well, back then they were not asking for so many papers. So
there weren't any child labor laws.
No. And then they said, "You're 16." Oh. That's what the guy said, to help us.
Okay, all right.
You're 16. So you had to.
Okay.
I know. Sorry. But we were surviving.
You were surviving, yes.
We were surviving. We got a little studio in Miami Beach. My uncle and my aunt and I. And
so how did you have the money to do that?
Because the guy let us pay on our first paycheck.
Okay. So you move in and you can pay me when you get paid from your
Yes,
job.
and they did that back then.
Did all three of you work in the hotel?
Yes, the three of us. I was there doing folding towels, whatever they told me to do.
You were just grateful.
I was grateful that I had a job. My first check, I'll never forget, it was $86.25, and I thought I was rich.
Now, back then, did they take out all taxes and Social Security and all that stuff?
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
All I knew is I had $86 in my hands. I never had a penny in my hand.
Oh.
So then, a couple of months later, my uncle had a friend that he got in touch with in Chicago. Okay. They had their phone number.
I think this is what I remember you telling me. So go ahead.
Yeah. So we get in touch with him. And my uncle was a wonderful car mechanic.
Okay.
So he gets in touch with him and he said, well, we can help you. Let's move to Chicago. And we were like, okay, we'll move to Chicago.
Yeah,
not thinking anything. No big deal.
So what time of the year was this?
December.
So when did you come here from Cuba? What month?
November 16.
Okay.
1979.
Okay.
And so we are moving to Chicago in December.
Oh, and you had
nothing.
So what about had the government given you any clothes?
What they did was a Catholic church back then was helping the refugees from Cuba. Mm-hmm. So they gave us a few things, and then we went over there and said, we're gonna move, and can you, give us so they gave us like a windbreaker. That's what we had.
Chicago, the windy city.
In December.
Snow.
So we go, we decided we're gonna fly. And this particular gentleman, that it was his friend, said you can stay with us for as long as it takes you to get into an apartment and all that. So it was more back in the day, it was a Cuban helping another Cuban.
Okay.
Friend.
Looking out for one another.
Yes, to help, get, So we get there to Chicago. I was in shock to see such a big airport. The O'Hara airport. It was like a whole world to me.
Yes.
And I was so scared to get lost. And then when he got to us and we are coming out, I see all this snow. It was a shock.
You had never seen snow?
Ever.
had you heard about? I mean, had you read
Never.
about? You didn't know about snow?
No, or an apple, or a pear, or grapes. Nothing. You don't see that over there. Nothing. Everything was the biggest shock of life.
Wow.
Things that we take for granted here.
Yeah.
We do.
We do take it for granted, yeah.
So we get there, we go to Chicago, and my uncle started working with him as a mechanic. And then his wife used to work in a factory that they were do these little plastic pieces. So I get a job there.
In this factory.
Yeah, and it was at nighttime. It was from 11 at night.
Like a third shift.
Yes, to like 5 o'clock in the morning. So she will take me.
15 years old. Wow.
Yes. I had to grow up fast.
Yeah. So the lady took you.
So she will take me to work, and then my aunt she didn't work at that moment, but my uncle did, and the mechanic. And so I will go to work every night with her, and then about 6 months or 7 months after I was working like that, I decided that I want to go to beauty school.
So you didn't go to high school when you came here?
I couldn't, because I had to work.
Yeah.
And I had to help with the bills. Bring the money to pay, because then we get an apartment, We save our money, we got an apartment.
You did?
And we got independent. So we learning. I was taking the train, taking the bus.
Okay.
But I didn't know English. So it was so hard.
Yes.
I'm in that train with my eyes closed saying, oh my gosh, I got to remember the name of my street, because I don't want to get lost.
Oh no.
I'm in this big, beautiful country, and I feel so little.
Yes.
Because I didn't know nothing. I didn't know what a banquet was, nothing. So I'm learning.
Yes.
And English. I didn't know.
Were people friendly?
They were very friendly, and I'm sure they laughed because I was trying to learn English. So the only thing that I learned to say fast was BLT. And I ate so many sandwiches. That's all I can order. Can I have a BLT or pizza?
Oh, okay. So, not a hamburger or a cheeseburger?
No, I didn't even know how to order it. So I would point. I was not scared.
Okay.
And I would point at things.
Okay.
And people will help me. And I'm sure they laugh. But I didn't care.
Yeah.
I needed to learn, and I needed to, become just like an American,
Yes, yes.
So then I decided that, so I started learning a little bit here and there. But I had a lot of people helping.
Okay.
I had a lot of people.
Was there a huge Cuban community there in Chicago?
No, not at all. Not at all. The Spanish community has grown in America, I want to say, in last 10 years.
Okay.
I want to say, or 15 the most.
Okay.
Before, no. So what
you
we
were
learning,
clearly in the minority in Chicago.
Very clearly in the minority. And but I will never forget, that I had my little dollar to go, get my train, to go at my, learning all these things, scared to get lost. We lived in a small little apartment, learning everything. I would put everything in English. I didn't listen to nothing in Spanish because I wanted to learn.
You wanted to learn. So
I started hearing it and learning it, and I will say it. If it come out wrong, well, it came out wrong. So then I started beauty school. And
what made you decide to do that?
I needed to do something, and I didn't have time to do anything.
A trade.
Yeah. I couldn't afford anything. I had to do something fast, and I always liked hair and arts. And
okay.
If I will have my dream that I always dream, I wanted to be a ballerina.
Really?
That's my dream.
Isn't she beautiful? She could be a ballerina.
Thank you. That was my dream.
Oh,
but I know that I wasn't able to do it. So I'm always being in the arts, and I always love to do hair. I would do my aunt's hair, my friend's hair.
Yes.
So beauty school caught my attention. It was something that I could get my hands on and make a living.
So how were you able to? You saved your money, I guess.
Well, no. I was able to get a grant.
Really?
Yeah, I was able to get a grant for.
Who helped you with that?
At the school. And I was able to get a grant.
Okay.
And they helped me with that, and I was able to go to school. So I was another thing that I was so thankful to the United States,
Wow.
Because in Cuba, you don't even pick your own career. They pick it for you.
For you. Wow.
So I was very grateful. In Cuba, I was going to be a teacher. You teacher, you a teacher. And you don't say nothing.
You just...
Now, we did child labor there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Every 45 days, you go and you do child labor from 6th grade on.
So what does that look like?
Terrible. You are sleeping in you have latrines for bathrooms, cold showers.
So
you're working in the country.
What age were you?
You 12 years old. You go to work in the country for 45 days.
So they take you out of your home.
Yes. And buses.
All 12-year-olds.
Yes. And buses.
And buses.
And you have to go to these camps that they are horrible. If I can compare it, they're concentrating camps.
Really?
Concentrating
So all
camps.
Children had to do that.
Yeah. And
what was the purpose of that? To scare you?
No, I think the purpose is of working for them for free. We had to pick up oranges and grapes and coffee leaves and so on. We had to get up at 4 o'clock.
You
in the morning.
worked like in a field.
Yeah, we had to work in a field.
Oh, so in 45 days, and then you just went back home, and then went back to school,
and go back to school. It was mandatory. You have to do it.
Now, did you do that every year?
Every year you have to get it done.
45 days every year.
Every year, and your parents bring you your food. At the end of the weekend, they bring bags. They have to travel far to bring you food because they don't even supply food for you. If I look back, it was horrible. The only thing they will give you was powdered milk in the morning, and it was hot and nasty. You know, I didn't think about it.
A 12-year-old child,
yes,
taken to a camp to work, labor, hard labor.
Hard labor. No water in the field for us to drink during the day. You can faint over there, and they don't care. Get up and let's go.
So that food that your parents brought you had to last, but your parents didn't have money.
No,
I think
very little. It was just one little piece of bread. They had to sacrifice so. I look back, and they had to sacrifice so much. There's parents today over there that they sit and they let the children eat, and they don't eat. That's today.
So that devotional I read this morning, that the guy was saying that the average wage is $20 a month.
Yes, my brother is a chef, and he makes $20 a month.
Your brother is a chef. How is he allowed to do that? I mean,
well, he went to school.
So who does he cook for? Just in the restaurant?
A hotel.
And they only give him $20.
And he has to attend to hundreds of people.
And $20 a month.
A month.
So how do you feed your family?
You can. I help them.
You help them
weekly.
You do. So you send money?
I send.
Okay, so we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I know.
So I tell you what, we're nearing the 30-minute mark. So we're just going to take a pause. So this is part 1. And you have to come back next week for part 2 to finish the story about freedom. This is all about freedom.
And how wonderful this country is.
Yes.
And we need to take care of it.
Yes. God bless America.
God bless America.
So we will see you the next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.